Bring up our panelists. First of all, the director and screenwriter, Dabney Day. And also the leading actress, Radha Mitchell, join us as well. And the earlier films include High Art, Phone Booth, Man on Fire, Finding Neverland, Melinda and Melinda, Sister Hill, Fear of Love, Big Sur,
Okay.
Olympus Has Fallen.
I've got a question. Can we move the chairs just here so we can be a bit closer?
What do you mean?
Just move the chairs up to that level so it's easier, a little easier for Dabney to get around.
I don't know if
The microphones.
could,
The microphones
but-
could
Oh,
be
the
an issue.
microphones.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's the issue.
Oh, okay. All right. It'd just be a bit easier for Dabney
People can
to
move
get
down.
around. Are you sure? Okay. All right.
Well,
Okay.
anybody?
I have a good voice.
You do.
I think there are a couple of other people who worked on that film who are here.
Yes.
I just want to introduce them. The editor, as well, Holly Stocking. Holly. And the composer, Jeremy Little. So, do you want,
We could move maybe that chair here.
do you want to give maybe Dabney a microphone?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what inspired the story.
Everybody asks me that. You know, it started 30 years ago, and it's a hard story to believe, but I was on my way to Yosemite for the holidays. And this was 30 years ago when there was no cell phones or,
Right.
computers. So I stopped off at a little market and got a long pad of paper and pens, because I thought maybe I'll write my friends notes, letters. Back then we wrote letters. And I got to this wonderful retreat called Shangri-La. And it was up in the mountains. A good friend of mine had suggested to go there. And I was there for 5 days on a fasting retreat. And honestly, guys, this story just vomited out of me, literally. And it was, the story has never changed. The story has always been the same. A woman who is an A-personality woman that runs and I have her running a cosmetics company because it represents the veil. It represents the unveiling, the masking, the cover-up. There's a lot of metaphors in the film. And so she's running a cosmetics company. She's ill. We don't put a lot of emphasis on that. But, and then she meets this gardener who really takes her on, as you can see, a real journey of healing. But it all was metaphorical through the garden. And if any of you all noticed, the gardener never gardened. Did any of you notice that? The gardener was only there to prepare the garden. She had to do the work, as in life. So if you watch it again, you'll notice that the gardener only prepares the garden. And he gives her moments when she says, "When can you start?" He says, "Whenever you are ready." He's always speaking to the soul of Sabina, the soul garden of Sabina. And that plays out through the garden.
So, and then how, at what point did Radha join the team, and what drew you to her
Well, my
to play the
wonderful
role?
Mary Jo Slater, who was the casting director, we almost got this film made twice. And that's too long a story to get into, but you guys understand independent movies, funding falling through. Mary Jo Slater called me up and she said, "I have never had this many people submit for a film." There were over 2,800 actresses. She said normally 700 would be a lot. And I went through quite a few. And then one day she called me up and she went, "Radha Mitchell." And I went, "Radha Mitchell, it's Radha, that's who it is." This film is meant to be for Radha. And Radha, you have to tell them the story.
Yes,
Well,
go ahead.
Meanwhile, in Melbourne, Australia, I'm walking around the botanical gardens, and I've got a friend there. And when I'm in Melbourne, I'm often in the garden, like it's close to the house.
They can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Me louder or? Okay. So yeah, I was in Melbourne, Australia when she was having this thought. And probably at the same time I was walking around the botanical gardens, which are these beautiful gardens, kind of like Central Park in Melbourne. And I was telling a friend of mine, don't you think it would be great to make a movie about gardening and the healing power of the gardening kind of process? And I was thinking more of like a collection of women who would come together in some kind of space. And about a week later, I got an email with this project and an invitation to be part of this movie called The Gardener. I don't know if you know my career, but I made a lot of horror movies. So I thought, yeah, I mean, it's probably a horror movie, you know, it's probably some sort of thriller with some creepy gardener. And then I read the script and I was taken aback because it really was talking to the themes and the ideas that I had in my subconscious about an idea for a story in any case. So I feel like we were sort of connected in that way. And of course I was very excited to sign on.
Right. And so was it always, it sounded like it was always the conception that the gardener would not be a real person, and yet you needed,
From the beginning.
and yet you needed somebody to play the part who
Right.
would be charismatic and have the qualities that the story needed.
Yes, and that was William Miller. And I actually, that's another Mary Jo Slater brilliance. She called me up and she said, "I know you've got other people in mind, but William's in Spain. I wanted a European actor. I didn't want an American actor. I didn't want someone that people knew, like a Brad Pitt. Love Brad Pitt, love Tom Cruise, love all of our big actors, but this required an unknown. We needed to all watch this film and think of the gardener as the gardener, not as Brad Pitt. So I thought William did an amazing job. Did you not all? Yeah.
Yeah, he has definitely a strong presence, and I don't know, I mean, did people suspect early on that he wasn't really there? Okay. A couple people, most people didn't, but you don't want them to, really. I think you want
No,
that
you want it to be a surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
I was always saying, Dabney, he has to be real.
Right,
Like, you
right.
can't do this at the end. It's got to be a love story. But I was wrong because, obviously it's a love story with oneself, like connecting to self.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, too, from your point of view, you've worked with a lot of filmmakers and a few female filmmakers, and going back to high art. Is there a difference in working with a female director versus a male? Because you've certainly worked with a lot of male directors also.
I mean, I've actually been privileged to work with a lot of female directors, which is sort of lucky for me. And is there a difference? I think there's an understanding, you don't feel objectified in any way. And if, I feel like I have the opportunity to represent your perspective, like a woman's perspective from a woman's perspective. So I think there's just an inherent understanding there. You don't have to explain things, really.
Right. Let me just
From the
bring
moment, I must say, from the moment she walked on the set, she was phenomenal. From there on out, she made us laugh, she made us cry. She was phenomenal. Really, there's nobody that could have played
Thank
this.
you, Dabney. And
No
then,
one could
I
have
mean,
played this better.
I don't know if you guys appreciate, obviously Dabney's had a career, an excellent career, but this is her first filmmaking expedition. So we went into that wondering how that was going to play out, and she obviously had so much confidence as a person, and what's the word, skill as a director. And I felt like it did not feel in any way that we had that sense of uncertainty that you could have at times with somebody who hasn't directed before. There was
Right.
a confidence and an understanding with the story and a sense of gravitas. It felt like we were doing something significant in your life, and it was an honor to participate.
Right. Let me ask a little bit of the editor, what were some challenges in putting the film together and weaving the different strands of it? What do you think were the more difficult elements there?
Truthfully, everything went together pretty easily. I feel like I was really connected with Dabney. I really understood what Dabney was going for. Dabney's very passionate. She's very clear about what she wants. And so that really gave me an understanding of what to give to her and maybe even give her something a little bit more. I tried to sometimes give her choices, like, well, we can also do it this way. And we worked
And I
really
have
hard.
to give Holly credit, guys. The beginning of the film was always the foot coming out of the car. And Holly said, Dabney, we've got to do something around the seasons to book in this film. And she's the one that brought to me, the beginning with the seasons and then ending with the seasons, which I thought was brilliant. So.
Well, nature is such a huge theme in this film, and that was one thing that I was really drawn to this film about, and highlighting nature and really accenting sound effects and stopping music so we can hear. Oh, hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah. No, I think most people can hear.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just saying, just nature is such a star in this film.
Right.
And accenting that as much as I could in editing, whether it's stopping the music for the waterfall sounds and playing up all the nature sounds as part of like the score. And Jeremy did a wonderful job as our music composer too. He really was a joy to work with.
Yeah, what were you going for in terms of the score? What did you think that could add to this movie? I think it's not on.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I read the script, there was really two things to me. There was Sabina's journey, and there was the Raven. I really felt like my main goal going in was I have to have a great theme for the Raven because nothing else will make sense if I don't have that, And Dabney and I, we had our first call, and I think I'm a gardener, so I spent most of the time talking about my tomatoes that I had just planted, and I was really excited about them. They didn't turn out very well that year, but Yeah, I was just focused on really Sabina's journey. You know, I'm trying to give some gravitas to what's happening there. You know.
I thought you added a real fairy tale, magical kind of.
Well, it was in
Tone.
Yeah, it was kind of that was my impression when Dabney sent me the script. I felt like I was reading a fairy tale, you know, and there was kind of a fairy tale arc to the characters, and you know, there's also this kind of hero's journey going on where, you know, you see this change in a person. And anyways, it was a joy to score because well, it's beautiful, you know, and like I say, I'm a gardener, so it was fun to look at the flowers. I kept stopping to go, oh wow, how'd they get their foxgloves like that? But,
So why was it filmed in North Carolina? What did you look at other locations?
I was very blessed. I have a very dear friend, Diane in Raymond Fell, who owned a compound literally in the Highlands. She's an artist, a very accomplished artist. She's published 4 books, and so she has an art compound. They have a home with their home has what do you call it? A mill with a waterfall right out their window of their kitchen, and then they had this beautiful art studio. And then they had the guest house, the cottage. And we had been working for 9 months on our property in North Carolina. We have a farm there. And we thought, well, how can we make this work here? And then we just couldn't get it to work because we were gonna have to, you know, guys, when you're doing a small film, you know, with a small budget, you really have to, as you know, you have to cut corners. You have to try to get very, you know, you're just trying anything and everything. But when it got to be where the cottage was going to cost $40,000 and it was going to be in the middle of my guys' cow field that they ate from, he said, and then we're going to have to tear it down. I went, okay, we're not going to do this. So they offered us very generously their property. How beautiful was that property? And so we were very they were just so generous for us. We had an amazing time filming there.
Right.
It was quite beautiful.
So this comes
And then we did Montreal for all of the
the cityscape.
the cityscape. Yeah.
So you know, we're living at a time when the environmental movement, which once seemed to be going very strong, is being trashed by certain people. And what role can a film like this play in maybe reviving the conversation, changing things around? Maybe Radha, you have some thoughts about that as well as Dabney.
Well, I mean, the movie's a love letter to the Highlands, I guess, and I think there's some sort of therapeutic value even in watching it, just to be exposed to all that green. And certainly that was what I was excited about when I got the invitation to participate, was just to be in the forest. And it did have that effect. It was kind of like a break from our lives for all of us, and just to be breathing oxygen, surrounded by trees. There's so much inherent value, and I think the movie sort of demonstrates that. How it's going to affect the political scape, I don't know. I think every action has some sort of impact.
Right.
Everything affects everything.
Yeah.
We do have another step for this film that has to do with the planet, and we'll unfold that down the road. First, we've got to get it into all the theaters, which is, as you know, a big step for distribution.
Yeah, so what is your plan for distribution?
Well, we're doing screenings across the country right now to get word of mouth. So word of mouth helps us to get this film into other theaters. And we're opening in Atlanta for the launch of the film, April the 17th. And then I think we have something like 52 cities that we'll be going into. But we want it to be all over the world. I feel like this is a film really for this time. I don't know about you guys, but what's going around us is pretty chaotic on a daily basis. And I just feel like when you can walk out of a film and feel uplifted, and if there's any possibility of change of mind or heart, I hope this film can do that for us all.
At least make a contribution, absolutely. Any questions?
Questions?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we'll bring it back to you, don't worry.
I really enjoyed the film, and I feel good after watching it in all the green. I'm curious what the direction was for the painting scene. Like, what was the instruction for the finger painting?
Finger painting. Go for it. Yeah, Dabney doesn't over direct, so it was just in the script that she got primal. That was it, really. But that was fun. There was 3 canvases, and they were all like deeply subconscious.
Right. Yes.
Thank you very much for a very beautiful film, very moving. Couple of quick questions. It appeared that it was shot in North Carolina by the credits. Is that true? And how did you find the spot? Because it was really beautiful. And also, the storyline obviously had a lot of references and metaphors, but it was all great and lots of costume changes I saw. But why cigarettes? Come on, let's get them out of the films, please.
But didn't you love that she did?
Why? But could the story? Okay, let me rephrase the question. Could the story not have been? Could have been written with all the themes and what you're trying to pull out by it without using cigarettes?
Well, it's addiction. It could be anything, whatever it is that you can't let go of or give up. I think cigarettes in this case makes sense.
I so agree with you. But I have to tell you that I wrote that so that at the end, she also gives up smoking. That was a very big part of one of her learning experiences. So I hope you got that.
Yeah, we
you?
saw that, I think, right?
Yeah, but I mean, did everyone understand that that was the end? That was her ceremony of, I remember she was going by what the gardener said, once in a while and then maybe not for months. And it's just a ritual for him. So that was the end of her smoking.
Yeah. So, what other films, Radha, do you have coming up? You've certainly done a lot of different kinds of movies, and what do you hope to do in the future?
Well, honestly, I really kind of enjoy making these intimate, I mean, not necessarily low budget, but certainly personal stories. I've done a few recently, some where I've actually played people in their life stories. And I enjoy that kind of a collaboration. But the next movie I have is called 7 Snipers, and it's an Australian action movie.
Okay.
And I'm a sniper.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to say once again that I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful film, and I think one of the things that's so great about it is that it reminds us of thoughts that we have ourselves that we try to remember in the midst of this corrupt, and strange world that we live in. So I just wanted to say I kept thinking about that all the time, that this is something we have to remember. It was very beautiful for me.
Oh, thank you
Thanks.
so much. It takes a tribe.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, not to be superficial, I thought the film was absolutely gorgeous. But part of the gorgeousness was the gardener. Your clothing was noticeably beautiful. You had on great fabrics and the pink with the black and white scarf. I was very aware of that, and I'm just wondering, one, was it hard to act across such a gorgeous man?
I often
two,
do.
what role did the clothing play in the film?
Well, I think the clothing did a lot to sort of define the headspace, and you even see the scene where she, changes costume, I guess, to explore a different part of herself, not just to get dirty in the garden. But that certainly helps as an actress to sort of change shape or, change the palette, and it does affect the psychology.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something also to that?
Well, no, just the arc. By the time that the gardener put her corporate clothes onto the scarecrow, I loved, and then that's really when she started actual planting. Again, he had prepared the gardener. She had to make the choice to plant and to begin, and that's the metaphor of all of our lives, right? So.
Right. Okay. Yeah, one more up here.
I just want to say that what I really find, especially listening to you guys.
We can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Okay. What I really found very beautiful is that you made this. You had a vision, and you can really feel that your heart and your soul and your team that you used, the people that you collaborated with that are in the film, even your friend, that is incredibly beautiful that your friend, supported you by letting you use the property. That's what you can feel the most in this project, is the love and the collaboration between the team that worked on this project. And I think that's the most beautiful kind of heartfelt memory that I have just from watching it and seeing it. I'm very grateful that I was able to come tonight. Very, very well done.
Okay, well, thank you to all of our participants. We were really glad to have this conversation, and thanks for bringing the film here. Great job, everybody did, and we will all spread the word, right?
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is the butterfly house official?
No.